Right, let's go ahead and start constructing our anniversary brag wallet. So for this I've got 3 sheets of 12 by 12 cardstock. I'm using the ivory here, or the French vanilla basil, to make this project because I'm going to match it up with a photo folio that I've just recently done. So I'm going to get the first sheet here, we're going to pop the other 2 to one side, and then the first sheet we need to score, so let me move my mat out of the way, and we need to score this at 2 inches. Okay, so I've got one side, we're going down at 2 inches all the way down, 2.5 inches all the way down, 9.5 inches and 10 inches. I'm then going to do just one turn, and this time we're going to score at 3 inches, 3.5 inches, 7 3/4 inches and 8 1/4 inches. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to score or fold all of these straight away with my bone folder. I'm going to do the cut lines first, because a couple of these score lines we're going to put pattern paper over, but it's easier for me to show you all the scores in one. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to cut down this score line. So I'm going to the second score line there, and I'm just going to taper in, just, I call it an angel's whisper, literally a tiny little bit of an angle off, just that tiny amount there. So what I've done is I've got my 2 score lines here, so I've tapered inwards, not this side, I've gone inwards on this little strip, and I'm going to do exactly the same on all of these. So I'm going down that one, and then just in that angel's whisper, as I call it. Okay, and pop that to one side. So this is all on this narrow side, and I'm going to do exactly the same up on this one here. Okay, so in with my scissors, so cut along the score line to the second score line, and then take that tiny little taper out. I'll just pull it off like that. Just bring one up there. Okay, so that's that looking on that side. I'm now going to do a half turn, and I'm going to do exactly the same on this side. So cut up the score line, and then a little snick it in. So it's coming off the thin strip in the middle, you're taking the tiny bit in. I'm just concentrating on this at the moment as well. I'm not talking to you, which is unlike me, isn't it? But I just want to get it right, and also I want you to get it right along with me. So let's take that tiny little bit in, and again. So cut the score line, and then take that tiny little bit in. Okay, and then we can start burnishing our folds. Okay, so just going in with my bone folder now and just burnishing these score lines. I'm going to do all the long ones first, and these half-inch folds, this is giving this brag wallet, our anniversary brag wallet, a bit more not just stability, it's making it a little bit wider. You know, I've come a long way in the last 3 years, and it's lovely that you've all been there with me, you know, crafting along with me. Some of you have been with me right from the beginning. Some of you are new subscribers that have just tuned in and found me, and I just think it's just marvellous, and it's just my way of saying thank you. So I'm just taking these little strips, because these little strips, what I'm going to do is we're going to fold these and glue these down when we put the project together, because these will all add stability to the brag book itself, or the brag wallet. You know, it has got quite a lot about it, as you've seen from the little video. Okay, so this is going to be the top. Alright, so I've got 2 score lines here. I'm not folding the first score line, I'm only going to fold the second score line, and this is what I was talking about. I've got you to do the scores, but we're not going to burnish those other score lines. We're going to add pattern paper over there so you don't see them, and I'm going to do exactly the same with these ones at the bottom. So top and bottom, don't score this first one, only score the second one. But it just made it easier for me to try and explain how this is going together. So they're both scored on the first, and all this will come in, and then these have got the gusset on both sides. Okay, so this is now what your project should start looking like. So this is going to come up here, and then this is going to come down here. So already you can start seeing how this project is going to come together. Alright, okay, so that's really good. So that's how we're starting off here. Now the next thing we need to do is to get one of our other sheets of 12 by 12, and we need to now cut this. So bring up the paper trimmer, and I need to cut 2 pieces out that are measuring 3 3/4 by 6 3/4. So I might go 6 3/4 first. Okay, so go all the way along. Keep this to one side because we will be using it, and then I need 3 3/4. That's 1. That's 2. And then I need one that's going to be 3 3/4 by 4 1/2, and I should be able to get that out of this piece as well, and it just, there you go, bang on. Okay, so those are the 3 bits we need first, so let's go ahead and work on those. So bring our project in. So this is going to be our top flap. So what we're working on is this bottom area here. So we're going to glue the 2 that are 6 3/4 by 3 3/4. But before I glue them, I thought this little bit here we could make a little pocket like we did on our first one. So I'm just going to go in with a round punch. If you haven't got a round punch, don't panic. You could just cut yourself a V. You could use any shape punch you have. The choice is entirely yours. I'm just eyeballing here. Okay, I'm going to do exactly the same on this side. If you want to measure it before you do it, that's absolutely fine, but I'm just going to eyeball that. So let's put that to one side. And we're going to glue the pocket down, very similar to what we did on the first one, as I say. So I'm going in with the tacky glue as we're making a construction project. So let's get the end of my tacky glue, and what I'm wanting is a thin bead of glue all the way around, but obviously not on the opening. So let me just bring this down. Is my glue going to come out, or is it dried up because I've kept the lid off? It's been a bit naughty of me. I should always put the lid on. So I'm just putting a thin bead of glue. So we've got elements here from the very first one that I did. Okay, and then we're going to attach that to it. So I'm lining it all up so that matches. So let's just fold that back. That's it. Okay, and then I'm going to go with my bone folder and just run it over where that wet glue. So if there's any bits that have come out, I can rub those away, because while this Collall glue is wet, as you know, we can rub it away. So that has given me, I'm going to let that dry, but that's given me that little pocket there. Okay, and we're going to do exactly the same on this side. When the glue decides to come out, it's being a bit temperamental. Again, popping that on, making sure that's all straight. I'm going to open that out and then just burnish those folds. Okay, so that's our bottom bit. Okay, so that's the 2 flaps there. Now the other bit that we did, that was 6 3/4 by 4.5, we need to put a score line in that at 4 inches. So just pop that in my scoreboard, and I'm going to put a score line at 4 inches. Bring the project back in, fold that over, and just give that a nice burnish. Okay, and that's then going to attach on this score line. Now here you've got that gusset score line of 1/2 inches, and this is 1/2 inch, and we're going to glue that on top of there, making sure that all fits in nicely. It does. And then I'm going to glue both these elements down on top of it to help hold that nicely into place. And then when we come to decorate, we'll put a strip of pattern paper on there. So let's get that glued down. So you can see where my thinking's coming with the measurements here. So it's not quite the width of your project. You'll have about 1/8 of an inch each side, and this is so when we fold everything together, it can fold up quite neatly. Oh, round the wrong way. Pop that down again. Sorry, round the wrong way. So even I still make mistakes because I start talking to you all. There we go. So stick down, and it's coming up that way. And then I'm going to put some glue on these 2 little tabs here, and then we can get those tucked up out the way as well. One on there, and then one over here, and that just holds that nice and neatly into place, and that's right on that fold line there. So let's just give that a nice burnish down, and also by burnishing you're also spreading the glue. Okay, so that's that bit. So that's our bottom bit done, and then that's that bottom flap done. So let's look at the top of the middle flap now. Okay, I'm just wondering, I think we'll go in and we'll do these pockets that I've created at the top here. So let's get those magnets out ready. Let me find my magnets. I've got them tucked away in my drawer, because obviously you get them, they're just attached to everything. So let me get my magnets. You're going to need 4 magnets for this project. So you need 2 at this stage. So I'm going to hide the other one out the way for the minute, because it will get attached exactly where I don't want it to. So what I'm doing is looking at the top part of the project here. If I bring in my finished one, we're looking at this part here. We're going to make these little pockets. Alright, so to create those little pockets, we've folded on the second score line, so we're going to bring the card down to that score line, and then I'm going to go in with my bone folder and burnish that. So then when that comes over, that has created that nice pocket. Okay, so that's how we're going to do it. I'm going to do exactly the same on this side so you can see. So bring this side inwards, press down, go in with your bone folder and just burnish that down. So these two flaps are going to come into here, but before we stick them down, I want to stick my magnets in. Okay, so let's get the magnets stuck in place, because they can be a little bit tricky, as we know. So the first thing we have to do is to get them apart. So I've got two here, so I'm going to try and slide them apart, and they're going to play me out because I'm filming. And yes, they are going to play me out because I'm filming. So let's see if I can just put my knife in there. Now, I get a lot of you ask me about the magnets that I use. I don't buy craft magnets anymore because they can work out quite expensive. So what I do is I buy magnets from a supplier here in the UK. Okay, it's a supplier that is local to where I live here in the UK, and I will leave the link. The link's on my website, and I will leave the link on my website with this project so you can get them from him, and it works out a really inexpensive way. It's a company, and that's all they deal in, is just making magnets. So they make them all sorts of shapes, sizes, strengths, you know, all types of things. And you know my other little trick about using a washer and a magnet to save on cost. With this project, because I'm going through several layers of thick card to each element, and I want it holding fast, I'm going to use two magnets for this project. So I've just stuck my magnet there in place with some double-sided tape, and then if I take my double-sided tape off, I get my double-sided tape off. It's meant to be easy finger lift, but hey ho. And then we can stick down this little V pocket. So I'm just going to put the wet glue on that part, and then we'll do exactly the same on this side as well. Now, if you can't get hold of magnets, or you don't want to use magnets at all, the other thing you could use is a Velcro hook fastening, if you wish, or you could make yourself a belly band. So there's several ways that you could do this, but this is how I'm doing it. So I've stuck those down with some double-sided tape. I've got my glue on here, so I can now fold that across. Go with my bone folder again, give a good press down, especially around this magnet area. Make sure all the glue is dispersed. Do exactly the same on this side here as well. Okay, happy with that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a bead of glue along the bottom so we can attach it to the bottom of the project to make the little pockets. So just fold those in, and again in with the bone folder and press that right down to get that nicely stuck. Wipe that wet glue away. Let's just push that out the way. So my magnets are stuck in there. I can't feel them now. Where are they? They're over on this side here where my thumbnails are. that's where my magnets are. So they're going to be either side of this big part here that's going to come down. Now if you are worried at all that your glue is not sticking where you want it, little top tip is just go in with some little clips, and you can, or pegs, household pegs will work, just to hold it in place while that's sticking, because obviously we've got those magnets there as well, so we want this really stuck nicely, because you know, this is when you're constructing these projects, you don't want this falling apart. So we can leave that there just to dry off nicely, and then we can move on to the next part. So let me think where we are. So now we're going to concentrate on the middle area here of our project. So if I bring the project in again, what we're going to concentrate on is this big flap here. I've already attached this one and the little ones that go inside. Okay, so let's move that back out to the side there. So I need my paper trimmer again. I'm going to pop this project to the one side as well. Bring in my paper trimmer, and we're going to need 6 3/4 again. Okay, so 6 3/4 mark all the way up, and we need one at 4.5 inches, so this is going to create the top flap, and then I need 2 at 3 3/4 inches. So actually it's very similar to what we've just done. Okay, so that's perfect. So again, I can take the 3 elements out of there, which is great. And then this time we're going to score the 4.5 inch wide ones. So I've got the 4.5 inches at the top. Okay, so 4.5 inches at the top, and I'm going to score down at 1/2 inch. So it's going to be scored at 4 inches. Okay, and then I've got the other 2 that are 3 3/4 inches, and I'm going to now score at 3 1/4 inches. So that also gives me that 1/2 inch. I'm going to do that on both of those. Okay, so let's bring in my mat so we can burnish the score lines on here. Good burnish down. And on that one as well. And then on that one as well. That's it. And then we can get these stuck into place. So like this one here, we're going to do exactly the same with the biggest one, so the 4.5 inch one. So it needs to be stuck onto there to come down. So wet glue on there. So we're sticking it on that gusset. So same as the bottom one. That's it. And then we're going to glue these flaps over again, because these flaps, that will help give some stability to those gussets to make the project more substantial. And again, we will be covering these with the pattern paper, so don't worry about that. Yes, I could have stuck them underneath, but I think it's holding it down, and I'm going to cover it in pattern paper, as you see from the other project. Okay, let me lift that up. Let me just give that a good burnish along there, and then we bring our other ones in to glue into place, and we're going to glue these in as a faux waterfall effect. So we line one up with the top one here, hold that flat, that good burnish there, and the same with this one. And then we can burnish that one down there as well. Make sure there's any wet glue is rubbed out the way. So that's our couple of waterfall elements, the big flap that comes out and the little flap that goes down. So we've now just got the side areas to do now. Okay, so let's look at our side areas that we're going to do. So I've got a little bit here, so let's add the little side elements we're going to add. So we're going to bring back in our paper trimmer, and we've got this spare paper here that we've got, and we're looking at 2 being cut by 6 inches by 4.5. So this is 12 by 12, so if I cut this at 6 inches, that cuts that straight in half, and then it needs to be cut down at 4.5 inches. That's one there, and then the second one. That's it. And then we need to score these. On the long side, and this time we need to score at, let me go with my wider end, sorry. We need to score these at 3 inches and 3 1/4. Okay, I need to do that on both of those. So 3 inches and 3 1/4. Alright. And then burnish these score lines. Now, I've really enjoyed doing these tutorials for you all on YouTube, and it's just lovely to say thank you to you all. And I enjoy the fact of doing them in real time, because as a crafter myself, that's how I like to follow and copy what people are doing. So I've got our 2 folded elements like that now, and if you look, you've got that little edge on there. So when we bring the project in, let's bring this in. We can take these clips off now because that's all dry. These are going to attach to the sides, so these are going to go onto this side element here. And if I look at mine, I put them more or less in the middle, so when we glue this all together, it's going to come across that way. Now I think I've cut those too high. Let me just check my measurements. Yes, I have. They needed to be 4 inches, not 4.5. So let me bring my paper trimmer and trim these down. So they should be 4 inches because the back is 4 inches high. Not to worry, we can do that quite quickly. So in we go, 4 inches, and the second one. I don't know what I was thinking there. I thought I was getting carried away with that other one being 4.5. Not to worry. There we go. Right, so let's get these stuck into place. We've got our folds on there, and then they're going to be stuck down there. So bead of glue again. It's a great thing about using the wet glue rather than tape sometimes, because it makes the projects so much quicker to put together. So we'll just that's it, bringing that in. Okay, I'll wipe that wet glue away. Gives you that little bit of wiggle room as well, which you don't get with tape. So that means I can, let me just rub that wet glue out of the way. Don't want that causing a problem. I know many of you as well have managed to get hold of the Calal blue as well, which is perfect. So can you see you've got all these, that stackable element coming in there on that pocket, or on those little booklet sides. Let's put that glue along there. The glue's playing up just as we're coming onto the last stretch. There we go. So now just go along with that with my finger a bit to spread that. Okay. Make sure you've got the shorter side on the outside. And just position that into place. I'm even going to go in and burnish that as well. Okay, that's it. So that's how that now all starts to come together, which is great. Let me just burnish that top line again. It's where I've let the glue dry. All these lines of burnish so we can get all this ready for the decoration then. That's it. I think I'm going to do exactly the same down the bottom here, because we added those extra layers, didn't we, with that those little flaps that came over, and of course now the glue's started to dry. You can feel how sturdy that is now on there. Open these out, I think might be easier to do that. Score line there, that's it. Good burnish on those lines, because then at least it will fold nicely together. These are still a bit wet on the side here, so that all folds in. So that's the project done. We've just got to attach some of the little magnets on the front here, so should we go ahead and do that? So really that construction has taken just over half an hour. So this is going to be a really quick album to put together. It's another one of those albums, you know, my albums in an hour that you all seem to like. So this is great. You can see all my magnets. This is how they come in the post. So I've got to get 2 out of here. So let's get 2. So I attach 1 to there and 1 to there. No, it's a great company. They get attached straight in here. It's called First for Magnets. They're based here in the UK, but they arrive really nicely packaged, and I know exactly where they are. So pop those back away in the drawer so they won't get in the way. So what I've done is my magnets obviously are under here, so I've gone in and just attached my magnets. Now what I'm going to do is put a bit of double-sided tape on here, and then we can fold the project in, and then we know we're going to have the magnets in place before we start decorating with the pattern paper. I'm going to fold this over on the magnets themselves. These are great, these magnets as well. You can buy different pull weights. You know, I can't believe how strong some of them are. Which is superb, and it's nice that they come so thin. But as I said, I will leave the link to the company, because they are a great company. The service is superb. I know lots of my followers that use them, and it's good. So let's get the project all nicely folded so you can see those nice gussets at the side. Okay, so make sure you've got it all lined up and happy with where you want it to be, so it's all square. Bring your top bit down, making sure that's square. Press down where your magnets are, and this is the tricky bit, making sure that one stayed there. Oh, it had stayed there. It is, they are so strong pull on here. Let me bring my craft knife to get between the magnets. Right, that's 1. Oh, has the other one come off? No. It's like naughty twins, these magnets. And then you've got a naughty pair of twins and they're not quite doing what you want them to do. So let me pop that one down there. I'm going to put a bit of this tape on first. They're just like naughty twins. Right, that one's in its right place. So let me just close this project up again. So that one I'm happy with. And then this one, if I bring that down, that will go about there. Oh, stay off. Told you they're naughty twins. I'll lift that one out the way. Let's put a bit of double-sided tape on there too. And then at least they'll stay put. So that's then now ready for me to add the decoration. Okay, you've got all these nice gussets, so we can put lots of photographs in here. Don't worry, that's bent up a bit. Once we've added our pattern papers, that'll be perfect. So that's the wallet done. If you want to watch how I've decorated it, you can watch the next video, or if you're happy to decorate it yourself, go ahead. But I'll see you in the next video.